Hi, I'm Janet Bufton with AdamSmithWorks.
Hi, I'm Garrett Petersen. I'm a grad student at Fraser University and the host of Economics Detective Radio.
And this is the Smith Questionnaire. So Garrett, I'm just going to start asking you questions, and there are no wrong answers. So first of all, would you rather be loved or lovely?
I think the objective right answer here is lovely, because if people love you but you're not lovely, then they're going to figure it out eventually. Could be some kind of like Bill Cosby type with a dark secret. And, that can only go on so long, and you're going to know deep down that eventually the jig will be up. So the right answer is it's better to be lovely, and in the long run, hopefully that you can get both from there.
Hopefully, yeah. Wealth of Nations or Theory of Moral Sentiments?
Well, I'm an economist, so I have to go with Wealth of Nations, just for the impact, the broader impact on my field. And although I very much like both, so I don't want to say that one is significantly better or more important than the other. They kind of work together in interesting ways. And since I learned a lot about Theory of Moral Sentiments from Russ Roberts. I haven't read it, but it has a lot of interesting ideas. So yeah, gotta pick Wealth of Nations, but Theory of Moral Sentiments as a strong second.
Awesome. Would Adam Smith rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Gosh, this is a tough one, because he's kind of like an absent-minded professor type and probably would not succeed in a fight against anything. Yeah, but 100 small things, you can punt, whereas one big thing kind of just mauls you, right? And I don't know, ducks can be pretty mean. Like you see them bullying each other. So I'm going to go with 100 duck-sized horses.
All right, respectable answer. What is the best antidote to the torpor induced by the division of labor?
Oh gosh, drink plenty of water, stay hydrated, and call me if anything changes.
All right. If Adam Smith had a favorite podcast, what podcast do you think it would be?
Oh, definitely mine. Maybe Econ Talk, but I gotta say, Economics Detective has been putting out strong material and sticking to the latest research, which I think he would find interesting. Had to work hard to actually stay away from current events, and I think current events are exhausting right now.
That's true. Objectively true, much like you. What do you pursue for pleasure that was once followed from necessity?
Oh, I'd say cooking.
Yeah.
At first you cook just to live, but especially in 2020, I've really upped my pizza game. I have the dough fermenting in the fridge, and
I was about to ask.
get all the best ingredients. I bought a really nice pizza peel on Amazon. I have a pizza stone in the oven, and I am considering building a brick outdoor pizza oven just to up my game that much more.
That would also be something pursued for pleasure that was once of necessity.
Absolutely. I'm using an oven design that is literally, you can find them in the ruins of Pompeii. And I don't think those people were doing it just as a fun hobby. They absolutely needed they needed ovens to cook in order to have food, in order to live.
Definitely. Adam Smith says that one of the times we experience sympathy is when we share an appreciation for the same piece of literature or work of art. What should people read, listen to, or watch to feel sympathy with you?
Oh gosh. Wow. So I am rewatching Star Trek: The Next Generation. I just you know, I find it very calming to see a group of people, you know, confronted with a problem and then call a meeting and discuss it like adults and come up with a solution and then execute that solution successfully. I kind of wish world leaders were more like that. So that's one. Although I think that you get more of the sympathy feeling when you're watching something live. You know, the idea that like, this is not a me thing, but when people watch live sports versus a rerun, there's the feeling like everyone is watching this together, even if they're in different places. We're all seeing the same thing, and then you can just know that other people are having the same experience, or you can go online and discuss it. So although I'm not currently watching any TV shows coming out, you know, week by week, it's probably the best way to feel like sympathy with your fellow fans, to you know, show up and watch the same thing at the same time.
That's an interesting answer. I like that. What does your impartial spectator look like?
Oh boy, incredibly judgmental. Just yeah, so it's this idea of like, you know, an imaginary person, or a person who you can conjure up in your mind, who kind of looks at your actions and judges them from a detached perspective. Yeah, and I'd say for me, like, it's actually not incredibly judgmental. I'd say I have a pretty well calibrated idea of like, here's what a, you know, a smart person who knows all the details of my life would judge my actions. But I definitely know people who I'd say have a, you know, their impartial spectator is maybe not reasonable. They're too worried that about how they can be judged, or, you know, how someone might see them, and you know, you try to keep that in check.
Sounds like your impartial spectator is appropriately attuned to the propriety of the situation.
Yeah, I'd say so. You know, this is a bit of a tangent. The most common mental illness is anxiety, and it's like 20% of people, you know, at least in these first world countries. I don't know about elsewhere, but and that kind of seems to me like that's when the sort of, you know, anxious people do a lot of mind reading. They kind of infer from other people's, you know, body language, or you know, their lack of saying something, or something they said that was really innocent, and they kind of infer all this judgment and you know, sort of silent criticism all around them. And that's sort of like having an impartial spectator who's just a jerk, you know. The idea of someone judging you not in a fair way, but in a really harsh way. And so that kind of, there's, you know, it's sort of this convergence between like Adam Smith, you know, impartial spectator, or man in the breast, and sort of a modern common mental health diagnosis, that the idea of someone judging you, some third party, is really powerful.
Yeah, it is. So now that you've put some thought into your impartial spectator, what is the last thing your impartial spectator said to you?
Oh boy. I don't know. Maybe that, so you'll notice I have a red blanket behind me. Maybe it was that the shelf full of you know, crackers and peanut butter and random you know, bags of rice and stuff that I put up for this whole lockdown pandemic situation kind of makes me look a bit like a messy slob if it's the only thing in frame, and I should cover it up to appear more tidy.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are right there with you. Okay, and the last question. If an afterlife exists, what would you like to discuss with Adam Smith when you get to meet him?
Oh man, I like the idea of talking to historical figures and just seeing their reaction to things that happen later, like, you know, oh, were you surprised that your work was had this effect, or did so Adam Smith was, he was writing just on sort of the cusp of the industrial revolution, like
Mm.
I mean, during the ramp up, but like and I would mostly, I would be excited to tell him all that's happened and see his reaction.
Yeah.
um I Yeah, that's probably what I'd most want to talk to him about. I would have questions about his time and
Mhm.
where he got some of the inspirations for his writing. I know in his day you weren't always as clear with your citations and like where
Yeah,
you were
right.
getting certain ideas. So sometimes he's sort of referencing an idea that's out in the ether, and you don't necessarily know exactly where it came from. What other people, what he's reacting to. You kind of, and so that would also be um, something I'd like to talk to him about.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for talking with me today.
Thank you.